Holy spiderwebs! This is Flight Check Season 3, Episode 3. We're back, once again, talking all aspects of FlyQuest, and there is simply so much League of Legends to cover from the past 2 weeks. We have a lot to talk about tonight. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes, and to my left and my extra left, great to be back talking LCS with you guys once again. It's Noxwar and Curly Double Q. Fellas, LCS has returned. We've got a lot of interesting takeaways from Week 1. NACL is about to wrap up Week 2. There's a lot of interesting takeaways from there as well. League has kicked off around the globe. It is that time of year again. I'm excited. Curly, how about you? I know you've got that bomber, rocking the bomber jacket tonight.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
One of the final pieces made by Fiend before she left FlyQuest. Tough times ahead.
What a way to go out, bro.
Yeah, what a way to go out. Great moment for her. She will absolutely be missed. It sucks to lose somebody who has contributed so much to the organization. But understandably, she was there for 5 years. I understand if she wants a bit of a new challenge. So there's that.
For all we know, we're just waiting on the C9 announcement.
Well,
they seem to keep stealing FlyQuest.
At this point, that's just kind of like how it goes, isn't it? It's like, yeah. So
nobody talks about the FlyQuest to C9 pipeline. And I feel like we should.
Right. Exactly. We should be talking about that a lot more often. Nox, how are you doing? Week 1 of LCS behind us, a 2-0 start for FlyQuest. Give me the overall sentiment. 2-0 for FlyQuest, and NACL rocking into the end of week 2 here. I feel like mostly things are actually pretty good in the areas that we expected them to be. How are you feeling about it all?
No, at least for me personally, I know some people will disagree about the LCS team. They thought they would probably go 1-1 because it's Team Liquid and they're supposed to be good and whatnot, right?
Right.
But everything out of all 3 of our teams has gone exactly to plan for me. Like, I was like 2-0 FlyQuest. I expect that to happen. I did have a little overconfidence in our NACL Fly Challengers team. I did say they'd go 4-0. They went 3-1. It's fine. They had a little bit of a warm-up game. It's okay. They still look very, very, very good. And they are about to play here momentarily. So maybe if you're listening to this later, go check on the results of that. If you're watching this now, maybe put it on a separate tab and listen to both, watch both, whatever. But yeah, and then FlyFam, unfortunately,
mute the Challenger stream and keep our audio up. I think that's the most important, So.
Exactly.
Right.
And then FlyFam, unfortunately, is looking pretty rough. I was hoping for a little more, if I'm being completely honest, but there's been a lot of shining spots, and if I'm being it kind of reminds me honestly of Fly Challengers or Fly Academy last year, right? If you guys if you pull up the receipts from literally 1 year ago, and when UG and Spearaxe were first starting, and it was just like, man, these guys look rough, and it's like, okay, we're gonna take it like one week at a time. We're gonna look at the improvements, and I think that's kind of the mindset you have to have watching this FlyFam roster is like watch Lunacia, watch Goo, watch Blaze, and kind of see how the improvement goes. And I have to say, at least in terms of individual moments, like they've all had moments, and so I'm gonna continue to keep my eyes open and see what else they can show us going into the future. But yeah, unfortunately, FlyFam is a little rough, but also pretty much exactly where I expected them to be.
Yeah, so lots to talk about tonight. We will get into every single aspect of FlyQuest League of Legends tonight. No Smash news to talk about, and we're still waiting for that Valorant team someday to be announced. So we'll get into all of those at other times. Quick reminder that if you cannot catch all of the show, the VOD will be available here and on YouTube on our channel, Flight Check Podcast, and I will be personally editing the audio from this episode and putting it up on Spotify tonight after the show, so you can listen to it there as well. And if you are listening to that right now and you want to listen to the show live, come join us mostly every Monday night right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And with that, let's get into it with a new segment. I don't have a flashy graphic or anything here for you, but this one... So what do you do when you show up to the airport, and you got to get ready for your flight? Well, you got to check in. So this is the check-in. We are going to check in with the league. Look, I've come up with another airplane pun for this show.
That was a pretty good lead-in.
I think I thought that was pretty good. So, couple surprising things. We're going to look at the LCS just really briefly so that we stay apprised of what's going on. But I think the big standout things for me, TSM is 2-0 after now, beating Immortals, okay, I can see that. Beating Team Liquid, wow, that's a bit of a surprise. CLG also 2-0, I think beating some people's expectations. EG and Dignitas were their wins. That's really interesting to see. Dignitas going 0-2, and at the other big thing, Team Liquid 0-2. Nox, out of all of these things, which one is the most surprising to you when you look at the standings after week 1? I know it's very early to react in any kind of overreactions, but that's what we're doing here tonight. We're overreacting. That's what you got to do after week 1. So how are you feeling about things right now?
It has to go to TL or TSM, right? That's the overreact. What the hell is happening, right? I think the better question becomes is, were you higher on TL or were you lower on TSM? And what's the difference between that in terms of the 2-0 for TSM and the 0-2 for TL? I think personally for me, I have TL in 4th and I have TSM in, what did I say, 10th? So for me personally, I think TSM's the bigger surprise. Holy crap. The Immortals game was kind of whatever, that's a 9th, 10th place matchup in my mind. So it's okay, someone had to win that, right?
Yeah.
Good for TSM, they managed to do it. I got my 9-10 wrong. Oh no. And then they come out the next day and they beat Team Liquid. I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, for me personally, I think TSM's the bigger surprise there.
Totally. Curly, how about you? What's the big standout results-wise? Or if you've got a player that kind of caught your eye over the weekend, what's been the surprise for you so far?
If I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna have to also go with the TSM 2-0 because across the board, no one ever had them really higher than 9th. If you look at my individual players, they're all the peak is Chime at 8, and it's how the heck is this team 2-0? Now I'm gonna be honest, looking at their match history, I'm gonna credit this to kind of similar how we started out 2-0 last year. We started out well, and by the mid split we're falling off. So I expect that to happen with this team because TL right now really just they don't seem to have any groove at all.
Yeah.
And it's really, really tough for them.
Right.
Which is honestly, I think I credit that. The reason I don't find them being 0-2 as surprising as TSM being 2-0 is because without saying it, TL was kind of supposed to be the super team.
Yeah.
They are literally an all-Korean roster, designed to be an all-Korean roster.
They're completely on the money.
And it's so they were the one that was supposed to be the one yeah, no way they screw up. And so naturally they screw up because this is League of Legends.
Right.
And so that honestly even though it's crazy, I'm narratives, bro. It happens every year. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely TSM's the surprise, but I would say Team Liquid actually going 0-2 to start is surprising to me. Just simply okay, I erred in picking TL over FlyQuest. I will readily admit this right here, publicly, only 10 minutes into the show. Yes, I was wrong. However, I think everybody would have expected TL to beat TSM. Nox, I don't know if you've got the stat on Fly Discord predictions for TL over TSM, but I have to believe it was 90% plus TL.
So out of the 60 responses for the Fly Pick'ems,
Yeah.
only 2 were in favor of TSM.
Yeah.
And one of which was Hoolie's bot, which randomly picks the teams at random.
Yeah. See, like there you go. It just something people did not expect, right? So, just very, very, very interesting. I will be really keen to see how they respond. But okay, so you guys just mentioned TSM, which means it's time for the return of one of my favorite segments. It's time for Bait or Great. And tonight's first Bait or Great, TSM. Is this 2-0 start bait? Or are they actually great? Curly, we're going to start with you. I need the argument from your side. And you can both argue the same point. I'm going to let you do that, but I need to hear bait or great, TSM.
So I know earlier when I knew you were bringing this back, I said in chat, like I said, bait team. Oh, no.
Wait, what? What happened?
Oh, never mind. I thought I went down. My internet gave me a blip.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Okay, coolio. But in chat, I said bait, Team Liquid, great, TSM. I'm going to be honest, though. I really do think it's a bait. I'm going to go back to earlier, like how last year we started out strong, and then we just slowly fell down the ranks. I think that is the curse that is going to bestow this TSM team.
Yeah.
Granted, call me crazy. Based off of this weekend alone, my crazy Hail Mary shot is that they will be 2-0 to Team Liquid this split, even when Team Liquid potentially finds their rhythm. Because Team Liquid on paper should be a very strong team, and they're just really not doing well at all. So once they fix all that, they have the potential to crawl back into the top 4 and have a role on playoffs. But they will not defeat TSM. But TSM still bait. Sorry, dog. You can start out 2-0 and just out of playoffs.
Yeah.
Been there before.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Knox, how about you? TSM, bait or great? How are we feeling?
You know, I think I need to go fishing with Curly over here because I'm also going with some bait. I don't trust this TSM team at all. I mean, congrats on the 2-0. It is actually well-deserved. I don't think they're going to be able to consistently repeat that success, though. I think the teams at the top of the table are still maybe just getting their bearings or still getting the synergy down, whatever it may be. Like, I think that's very much the case with Team Liquid in a separate scenario that we're not talking about, Evil Geniuses, right? But these are teams that are supposed to be really, really good.
Right.
I just don't think it's there for TSM. So take the 2-0. Great for you. I'll see you probably at the bottom of the standings in 4 or 5 weeks from now.
Yeah. No, I'm going to have to agree. Just the quality of their win over, what teams they were beating. Like Immortals, I'm not too impressed by you beating Immortals. That's not a difficult task. It's not going to be a difficult task for anyone this season. The Team Liquid one is more surprising. However, flukes happen, and, you play 100 games, you're going to win some of them, and I feel like this was just one of the wins. I don't expect TSM to be a top 6 team this year. I feel like they can probably push for a playoff spot, but I still feel like this is bait. And until I see more, I am doubting. I am hardcore doubting. All right, I have another surprise bait or grade. I didn't tell you guys about this one.
Ooh.
All right, now this one is bait. I had to modify it a little bit. Bait or not great? Dignitas.
Bait or
is
not great?
Is this O2 bait? Are they actually good, or are they just not great? Okay. So is this O2 bait for all the other teams to think they're weak, or are they just simply not great? And I think this is an interesting discussion here because it's a team that on paper I don't dislike, and there's some good elements to it. I like Armut. Santorin is amazing. I think Spawn can be like a capable AD carry given the right tools and champions. Jensen, for all the crap we've kind of given him over the last couple of years on this show, he's still like I would argue a top 6 mid in this league. You could argue. So they're there, but they looked really bad this weekend. They were not impressive at all. And so I'm curious. Dignitas is 0-2. Bait, or is this team just not great? Knox, going to you first.
You know what? I think on this one, I got all my fishing done and taken care of on the last Bader grade. So I'm just gonna say they're not great. I have them currently listed as 7th in my power rankings. I've never been high on Jensen. I pull up the receipts. I've been saying it for years now. I am a huge fan of Santorin though, but I don't think Santorin's gonna be able to save this team. The bot lane is very questionable, and then Armut, who I actually think is a decent top laner but has champion pool issues. Mm-hmm. Is not really going to change anything for this team either. So, and then along with that, like I don't think Enatron, who's the coach for Dignitas, is really all that much or all that great, I guess, for the team. I think there's not a lot going for this team, even though there is a lot going for this team. It's kind of this weird paradox, and so I'm just to keep it nice and simple and sweet. I don't think they'll be great. They're not great.
Yeah. All right, Curly, how about you? Where are you feeling on this one?
I'm also going to be in the not great train. I think this is one of the cases where a good chunk of the individual players, while good on at good players, it's just they're parts that don't work together. And so Santorin, to me, he is one of the best junglers in the LCS. Standing, will always be one of my top 4. Jensen, undeniable talent, even if we do dog on him, because he has some high highs but some low lows. Yeah. And then Armut is actually really, really good. Spawn, I don't have as much to say about, but Ignar was part of that FlyQuest squad that was able to pull off the only win against Top Esports back in 2020. So it's like these are some really good individual players. I just don't think they should be on the same team. I think they would work better with other players on other teams. Like, say, if Santorin stuck with TL this split, I think they might be better, if I'm being honest.
Well,
or if Santorin was able to somehow take contract spot on CLG, he might be able to boost that roster up to 4th place.
Yeah,
because contract's already pretty good. So it's if they were just with other players, they would probably play better. But they just had the misfortune of being this team, and they're gonna have to run it into the ground.
Yeah. I think my
FlyQuest podcast, I'd actually want to debate CLG a little bit, if it wasn't for the fact this is a FlyQuest podcast.
Oh no, we've got time. This is going to be a nice long episode tonight, so bring it on. If you want to discuss a little.
Well,
we're still in the check-in phase. We haven't even gotten to. We haven't even loaded our bags on the plane yet. So.
Yeah, we haven't gotten through TSA yet.
Yeah, we got to go to security next.
Okay, well, sorry for interrupting. It was just do your point first, and then I do want to debate. I do want to debate CLG really fast.
Yeah, I'll just say real fast. For me, I think I'm somewhere in the middle, and I know you're supposed to pick during Bait or Great, but I'm somewhere in the middle because I do think this team can show better performances. I think when Ignar gets in, I think they'll start to look a little bit better. I think that they just kind of got put up against some tough opponents to start their season, and they should be able to beat the teams below them, and hopefully that'll build up some confidence and some better synergy for them. So we'll go with that. So I'm going with maybe a little bit of Bait right now. All right, CLG debate. Knox, your turn, please.
You have the floor.
You were saying that you think this team could get up to 4th with Santorin, right?
I mean, here's the thing. Contracts, I think, is already doing pretty good. It's just because I'm higher on Santorin as a jungler.
I think there is a very strong chance that even my power rankings are wrong, and that CLG is now going to sneak into 4th after what I saw this weekend.
See,
I think
I'm not
I
so
think they're
sure
already
about that.
forward.
I wonder if they kind of like last year. If you recall last year, Jat had a great point about this on this week's episode of JLXP. That so I totally will be honest. I'm going to steal this point. Um, Last spring, CLG had a fantastic meta read where Luger and Poom were both able to play the Seraphine, and that got them some nice wins to start out the spring. It does feel a little bit like CLG has some of that pre existing synergy and a good meta read to start the season, and they're starting out with an advantage. And I wonder if, as the season goes on, as more teams build up their synergy, if the rest of the teams will catch up and CLG will start to fall off a little bit. So I'm high on CLG, but I'm not like, oh yeah, they're a top 3, top 4 team right now. I think now where I might have had them, I mean, let me look and see where I had them.
You had them in 6th.
I have in 6. Honestly, now I probably would put them at 5, maybe 4, depending on how Team Liquid pans out. But I'm not racing to just say like, oh yeah, they're going to Worlds or something like that.
Yeah, no. I think for me, what it is because I have them in 5th, right? If you go check my power rankings, I think what I've seen this weekend from other teams and CLG, with a combination of teams not getting it together and how CLG looked, I'm keeping them in 5th. But like, if they have another 2-0 weekend, I might I'm not gonna change my power rankings, right? Obviously, my power rankings were what they were before the split, but in my mind, I may or may not have them as like the 4th best team in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, we got to be nervous though, because if they do win Worlds, I have to jump ship from you guys and start a podcast with Andrea. So
it's true.
Oh my.
It's true.
You want to keep me here? CLG has to underperform.
No, we do. We do want to keep you. That is absolutely true. All right. Well, that is the check-in and bait or great. So now it's time for the real stars of the show. It's time to review LCS. Maybe we could turn this into it's like the TSA security check. You got to like review the person and their belongings and everything. So it's the security review. Fly versus Team Liquid. I'll workshop that. I'll circle back, put a pin in that, and we'll come back to that point. All right, Fly versus Team Liquid. This was game 1. This game really interesting to me because it was not necessarily a FlyQuest dominant game from the get-go, kind of like the Dignitas game was, which we'll get into. Mm-hmm. But by the end of it, oh my gosh, Prince on the Zeri was just going off. And I feel like Prince is ultimately the story of the week, really. Just like how mechanically good this guy was. And it's like, I knew how good he was. I had watched some VODs. I had watched LCK a little bit last year. I knew Prince was good. Oh my gosh, he just completely showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Curly, like, what stood out to you in this game? I mean, there were some great moments. There were a couple tough ones, but overall, like, great, solid win.
I'd say something that stood out to me in this game is, number one, just Spica was everywhere. Like, if there was ever a play that was about to be made or being made, Spica was either there already or close enough that he wouldn't miss him like much and we'd be able to save it. And really the only big problem I saw in the whole game was an engage that actually really started out well for us when he got the Maokai ult onto like 3 people in the Baron pit. That should have resulted really well for us.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of like discord that kind of like happened in the midst of that fight that ended up turning it into a TL being able to catch up. But overall, something I saw in this game, and then even in the Dignitas game, is this seems like a very controlled FlyQuest. They are very like, they're not as bombastic and I'm going in deep like we were last year. It's like, we're going to like build our advantages, wait for the moment, strike, and push the shit out of it. And we are just going to go so hard that they cannot recover when we make a move. And like you can see that particularly in Prince, because Prince.
Uh-oh. We lost Curly. All right, well, we'll keep going. Knox, why don't you take over here?
I'll try and pick up where he was going with
Yeah.
Prince's level of aggression is just absolutely insane, right?
Yeah. It
like
is.
you can watch him in the team fight specifically. He like, and using Ezreal as the example, right? Just he does not use his arcane shift defensively. I swear he only uses it aggressively.
Yeah.
There was a moment in the mid lane where it was just like he just fancy feet, can't touch this, and, like breaking ankles the entire time while on this Ezreal pick, and then he's still just every Q is landing, every W is landing. He's getting multiple auto attacks weaved in between these combos. It's just ridiculous, and so it's just. Prince is absolutely absurd, and there's a reason why I was calling him as one of the best AD carries in the world currently, and how crazy it is that he joined our team.
Yeah.
And also, I think Curly is back. I see him looking around.
He's back. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want.
Sorry, you can continue, Curly. I just was.
Yeah. To finish my point is particularly with Prince is he's like got a lot of awareness of the situation that he's in and the abilities of his champion. So like he was always exactly where he needed to be in team fights and duels, and like his spacing, and most of his skill shots, not all of them, most of them, like he did what he needed to do. And they were absolute. It was just some of the most beautiful gameplay I have ever seen. And then also on top of that, Vikla, his ability, like as a mid laner, he's exactly what I expected from watching the clips that Nox sent me for the flight check radar. Is like he will go in for things and he will punish people, and he will like he'll just make you go, oh my gosh, did he really do that?
Yeah.
And he plays some flashy champs, so he can do that.
Right.
It's really good. Like he had a really long chase on Azir, I think, in the middle game. It was all the way from like our mid turret to like past their red buff, and I was like, oh my goodness. You didn't have to go all that way, but you did.
Yeah. No, it was very impressive. Really impressive game against TL. I want to really shout out Spica. I thought he looked really good. I thought he played well. And I think it goes to show two things for me. One, it matters so much what pieces you have around you in order for your stock in the LCS to rise or fall. On TSM last year, people were giving him so much grief for just not looking like his former self. It's because he didn't have good players on that team. And now he's actually got people who can hold their own in lane. Not only hold their own, win in lane, right? And that just enables him to do what he wants on the map. And then, two, I had a second point, and now I've totally lost it. But basically that is he looks so much better now on an actually good team than he did on TSM. And now Hunter Talkpod is asking if we're gonna talk about the Monte Cristo tweet, and I'm assuming this is speaker related. So now I got to go find this.
No, it's okay. I wasn't gonna give attention to it because it's really effing stupid. But basically, Monty had a tweet saying like, "Oh, Papa Smithy could have done this exact roster 100 Thieves if 100 Thieves had just let him." And then Curry replied saying, "Well, this roster was built by Nick Fan, not Papa." And then Monty was like, "I kind of know that." And long story short, is Curry just was like, "Well, you didn't seem like you were getting credit for it." And then Monty just popped off.
Well, then Monty gets called out for not doing his research, and
Monty was Monty.
Yeah. So yeah, Monty.
I don't know.
I don't need to get into it. Let me just put it this way. Thorin blocked me on Twitter last year because I liked a tweet that was like against him. So look, if that's the fragility of your ego, then I'm not really interested in getting to know you. So that's about it. Anyway, TL game looked good, but I think I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to say about the TL game, because I was going to move on to the Dignitas game.
I wish we would have gotten the pentakill.
Could have gotten the pentakill. That would have been the cherry on top. Yeah, so I think I'm excited about where things are going, and it looked really, really good. All right, so Dignitas, let's talk about that one. And I did not do the usual pull up the draft or anything, so let me go ahead and get ourselves some picks and bans.
They let the tree through again. I don't know why they let that happen.
Yeah, can we talk about? Oh, you know what we didn't
questionable.
talk about, and on the TL thing that I did want to bring up, the sapling in the river that killed Core JJ. That was one of the funniest things I've seen. Secret Agent sapling, just absolutely going in, taking out Core like that. Oh, that was so good.
I relate to Core so much on that because I will be obliterated by saplings in my bronze matches. It's depressing.
I feel like that's like the perfect montage you can make of like the JoJo cuts of like the super dramatic like
yeah. The end of the Yes song. Yeah.
It's like Nani, and then like
Absolutely. So yeah, that was really, really good. So looking at these, just the TL draft first. So we went Gangplank. Oh, by the way, yeah, Impact solo killed Summit. By the way, Old Man Impact still crushing it. Like just casually doing that. That was a beautiful fight. Prince looked really good on the Zeri. Spica set things up. Vikla, not like the best game KDA wise, but he still did fairly decently. He had that one. Was it the shuffle into the tower that was amazing?
Yeah. A huge part of the first blood.
Yeah.
He got Piosik down to like 5%, and then the Maokai ult was just like...
Yeah, just a little bonk on the head. I liked this draft, and overall, I thought the drafts this week were really good. You had a lot of late game scaling, with both the Azir and the Zeri, and then the Ezreal against Dignitas. Nox, talk to me about drafts this week. Did you like them? Is it kind of the classic, hey, it's week 1, let's pick scaling and go for late and we should win? Or do you think this is maybe a style that we can expect to see the rest of the season?
And correct me if I'm wrong, Santa, because you're probably you're the LCK expert here, but this was a very LCK draft, right?
Yes, it absolutely was, yeah.
So, I mean, and my one worry about this is, like, at least in the TL game, it is 3 losing lanes. It's just straight up. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool that we have laners that are capable enough to be able to hold their ground and not lose too terribly, to buy Spica enough time to just do his job and get them going. And that's exactly what happened, right? Was they survived the lane phase, Spica got him ahead, and then it was just over. Like, TL's team comp couldn't do anything into ours. My one worry, though, is if we continue drafting like that, and let me double check what the Dignitas draft was. But if we continue drafting like that, I'm scared that some team eventually is just going to go all in, and one of these times we're not going to survive the lane phase, and then it's just going to snowball from there.
Right.
So, like, for instance, the Dignitas one was Cassante, Maokai, Silas, Ezreal, Karma. So that's less late game scaling, and that's more early game / mid game. And so if we're able to balance those drafts, then it's fine. I'm not too concerned by it. But that's kind of how the TL one was. It was 3 losing lanes, and it was just, okay, if you make it out of lane phase, it's like GG, it's done. And that's great. Like, if you can survive it, cool. I'm more a fan of this Dignitas draft, personally, just because there's a little more agency in lane. There's a little more room to create your own win conditions and so on and so forth, instead of kind of just like, if we survive past like 10 to 15 minutes, then we should be okay. So overall, I thought the drafts were great this weekend. Song is continuing to show why he got DRX a world championship, because the man's drafts are just gigabrain crazy good. So I'm looking forward to see what else he's able to draft in the coming weeks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I thought, definitely you're right about how that TL draft was 3 losing lanes, but for scaling. And I did like the draft against Dignitas a little bit better. Surprising that the Cassante had very little influence in the game, just 0-2-4. It was really the Prince show in the Dignitas match, and let's talk about that first blood onto Armut. Great
Dude,
setup. And it's just like, all right, you've given first blood over to the Ezreal. GG. I'm sorry. That's one that in scrims, you're like, remake? It's just, like,
Prince had a tier at level 1 walking into lane.
Yeah,
that is not okay.
And with someone like him, you're just so far behind from the get-go. And another point from JLXP that was really good about Prince was there was one moment where he literally held his Q so that he could last hit some champion with it for the kill. That is discipline. Like, instead of just pouring on the damage, spamming your Q, spamming your auto, holding the Q so you can last hit with it, like, that's absolutely crazy. So Prince, this was really the Prince show. Vikla did look good on the Silas, and Jensen did not look good on the Sakali. Oh my goodness. Really, really frustrating showing, I'm sure, for him. Nox, or actually, sorry, Curly, I meant to say.
Yeah.
Some of these matchups here, what stood out to you the most in this Dignitas game? I know you were watching the VOD earlier, so which of the lane matchups were most intriguing to you?
I think for me, I expected a lot more dominance from top, considering how broken Cassante is.
Yeah.
But what really surprised me was how subtly Ezreal came online. Because sure, he did get the first blood.
Yeah.
But then we just kind of sit for a minute, and then all of a sudden he's legendary.
Right.
It happens. I think if you look at the death count, it happens in a span of 10 minutes, where it's like they don't do much. They just take turrets, and then over the next 10 minutes, there's fight, and boom, he's legendary.
Yeah.
And so it's just how subtly we started dominating them out of nowhere, because it wasn't like a clear domination. Like, yes, the first blood set a precedent, but we weren't like steamrolling them the whole time. It was like we were building up, and then we toppled everything over. And I think it's just interesting how that worked out, and I think it's really cool. And I think it's kind of a bit of what I said, where it's like we wait for the right moment to strike and we push as hard as we can.
Yeah, no, absolutely. How did you guys feel about, and this kind of goes back to more of the overall weekend review, I thought Winsome looked really good. I had nothing bad to say about his performance.
Minus not giving the penta to Prince. He's
if that is the critique that we have for him, then wow. I think the news is Ayla not in for week 2. He's actually in Europe right now. He's playing EU Champs Q. He's probably on some kind of travel visa. But it will be Winsome again for week 2. And honestly, I'm just kind of like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to say org diff. I'm going to say org diff. Like, sure, you can have our CEO. We're just going to make your support play better.
I think it's probably just like teammate diff, if we're being honest. Anyway,
still part of the org.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have no qualms with how Winsome played, and I think that I think whenever Winsome goes back to the Challengers team, it should only make them better. That team will only get better with Winsome on that squad, and they're already looking good. Nox, how about you? Winsome, yay or nay? I feel like he was a big yay for me. Did not make any critical errors that led to losing a Baron or a Dragon or something like that. I thought he played really well.
I actually thought he was very, very solid. I think as much crap as Prince was giving him, I think Prince was very happy to play with him. I think he did everything he needed to really do. I don't think he was also anything super stand out. He didn't really. I guess he just wasn't really the star of the team, which is fine. This is a star-studded roster. You don't need to be the star. But I think he did everything he needed to do. Just kind of flew under the radar, and that's fine. At the end of the day, I think I'm still more excited to see what Ayla can do when he gets here, because everything I've heard and everything I've seen goes to show that he should be the better mechanical support.
Right.
Should be able to maybe, because I mean, don't get me wrong, Prince had a 1-0 tier start in lane against Dignitas, and then was fairly even in lane with Yeon and Core JJ. But I think when Ayla finally joins the squad, you're going to start seeing some 2v2 kills happening, right?
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, I'm very happy with how Winston performed. I am still looking forward to Ayla, though, and I think once Winston does join this Fly Challengers team, who, by the way, is playing right now and just got first blood with a 2v2 mid-jungle duo, when Winsome does join this team, I think this will be even more of a deadly challenger squad, and I'm very, very excited for that. Not to say Keatong hasn't been doing well. He has been doing well.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right. Any final thoughts here? Was there anything negative from the week that you want to point out as things to maybe work on? Or was it all just golden? Was it all perfection from top to bottom?
I mean, these are small nitpicks, right? But there's still things you have to be considerate about, and stuff that I'm sure they look at in VOD review. But I know Vikla got caught in side lanes once or twice, although it was kind of a reach in both instances. Like TL was really stretching to get those picks, and so I can't blame them too much for that. But it's also something you do have to be aware of. And then the Herald fight in Dignitas, the one that was like the one and only thing. But if you go back and watch that fight again, you can see the gears turning in all the heads of FlyQuest players, right? It's like we're 3v4, but like a lot of their skills are down, their summoners are down. We can outplay this, and you can see they go for it, and they get extremely close. So honestly, I'm kind of just chalking that up to like they were limit testing, and they still clawed it back and like easily shut out the game from there. So if you want to have a little limit test moment here and there, I'm not really going to complain about it. Just make sure it's not too big of a deficit.
Yeah, just make sure you're not completely throwing the game away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, one thing for me is Impact. I don't know if like their role from him is just to play weak side. I didn't see as much presence from him as I expected, but it might just be, we're making this the Prince show right now, or the Vikla show, and if that's our way to victory, then so be it. Because Impact's still reliable. He wasn't like a big crutch. It was just he wasn't the pop off. But
yeah,
I really would like to see some Impact carry games, especially on like Gameplank, bro. He has had some beautiful Gameplank matches in his history.
Yeah.
I think that TL game was him, honestly. That I wanted. Who got player of the game for the TL one?
I did not see.
I think it was Impact, actually.
Okay, I was gonna say like Impact for me was the carry of that Team Liquid game. He was crushing. He got a solo kill against Summon. His ultimates were great. I think that's kind of
Impact
the one
got
thing.
player of the game.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's the one thing about Impact is I don't think he's ever going to be the go-to person. Like, hey, you're the carry, but in times of need, if you need to, by all means, give him the carry role. He will do it. And I think the TL game was just one of those, hey, man, you solo killed Summit. All right, man, here's some resources. Go nuts. And then same for the Dignitas game. First blood to a Prince in level 1 with a tier start in lane. Okay, yeah, we're just going to funnel resources to you. Go nuts. Yeah. And so there you go.
Won't he do it? All right. That was week 1. Looked really good. Moving on, though. Week 2. Time for some predictions. Uh-oh. I don't have the camera set up here. That's hilarious.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm not going to bother fixing those right now. All right. Well, it's only Curly visible on the thing, but...
Represent us well, Curly.
Represent us well. All right, Curly. So, Golden Guardians is the Thursday match. I believe that is at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Cloud9 is the Friday match. that is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So, talk to me first, Curly, about Golden Guardians. How are we feeling about this one? You know what? Let's be honest. What should the outcome be in this matchup?
Do you really even have to ask, bro? Do you really have to ask? It is it is 100% a FlyQuest win over Golden Guardians.
I mean, I don't, it's going to be tough for me to disagree with you. Knox, how about you? Where are you landing on this one?
So something I do want to point out, I did see that Gory got his visa approved and is on his way. I do not know if he's going to be here in time, but he is on the way.
Uh-huh.
So, having said that, I mean, no matter what, I'm predicting a FlyQuest win here.
Right.
However, I do want to bear some caution, though. If Gory is here, the mid-jungle duo, even though like the synergy's not going to be completely there because they haven't played since they were boot camping in Korea, this mid-jungle duo is one of the best in the league, and I actually do mean that. This is a very scary mid-jungle duo, but it shouldn't matter because the top lane is still going to get smurfed on by Impact, and the bot lane is nothing. Like, GG bot lane is not going to stand up to Prince and Winsome. Just straight up, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I do want to bear caution. This mid-jungle duo is scary, so beware. But yes, FlyQuest win.
All right, well, there you go. I am also going with the FlyQuest win. That is my take on the matter, and you cannot change my mind about it. I just think even with Gory in, I do think Gory is very good. But bot lane we outclass, top lane we outclass, and I think jungle we outclass. So even if you want to argue that Gory will put up a good fight against Vikla, I just think we absolutely outmatch them on paper across the board. And honestly, this should be like a sub 30-minute win. Like, it should be a dominant win. I expect them to perform very well.
You want to go for 18 minutes like G2 yesterday?
No, we'll go for. Well, I'm asking for sub 30. That's all I'm asking for. All right, that's all. That's all I need. All right. How about the other one though? Cloud9, another big match. We've managed to have like two of the supposed top, four in our schedule right off the bat. Not gonna be easy by any stretch of the imagination. Nox, I'm actually gonna start with you. How are we feeling about this Cloud9 matchup?
So, personally for me, because I have Cloud9 ranked as the second best team in the league currently, this is our hardest matchup. I am actually nervous for this one. I think Fudge looks absolutely insane. I think Blabber is continuing to look great. I think Diplex has just kind of been okay. Like, he's there. He's been doing his job. Berserker's still great as always. I'm very excited for this bot lane matchup. This bot lane matchup should be nutty. And so, at the end of the day, I think if we're going off of how they both looked in week one, I think Fly looked a little bit stronger than Cloud9 did, and so I'm going to give the edge to Fly. But this could go either way. I would not be surprised. And in some ways, I actually wouldn't mind the loss here because it's going to help the guys learn and understand, hey, this is what we need to be doing. And I think it's always good to have a loss in regular season. Even though we want the 18-0, that'd be sick. I think if you really want success, like, you should have some losses on stage so you understand, hey, if we get put behind or we need to do better in these areas, like, you learn from them, right? So FlyQuest win, but I would not actually be upset of a loss against Cloud9 of all teams.
All right, there you go. All right, Curly, how about you? Where you landed on this one? Oh, Curly, you are muted.
NA production, baby.
And
he's still talking. Oh, wait, maybe? Hello?
Nope, still muted.
Nope. All right, sign us your prediction, Curly. You use your hand like ASL.
Now he's frozen. All right.
Oh,
Well, it's time for me to
okay.
give my prediction on FlyQuest versus Cloud9. All right. So I agree with you, Nox. This is going to be a difficult matchup, I think. Oh, where to begin? Yeah, I think you've got the defending champs. They've only changed out one player. Now, I have been of the opinion for a while that the reason why they won was because the meta really suited them.
Yeah, the patch diff, honestly.
It was
Straight
a patch
up.
diff. Now, I don't think things have changed too much meta-wise. So, I still think this Cloud9 team is going to be really good this year. Jury is still maybe out a little bit on Diplex. Maybe there's going to be a move there. Who knows? But from what I saw versus Team Liquid and versus Dignitas this past week, I just feel like FlyQuest. I didn't believe last week. I said 1-1. I'm not doing that again. It is absolutely going to be a FlyQuest 2-0 this week. I am calling it right now. 2-0 for FlyQuest. Curly, are we unmuted? I want to hear your prediction. Oh, now he's freezing again. All right, so I don't know what Curly's prediction is.
Do we want to just we'll put him down under Fly? We'll have a unanimous.
I'll put him
group
down under
decision.
Fly. Nox, why don't you? What is a thing that is like what matchup in this? Like what lane matchup, what role matchup is the most concerning for you in this Cloud9 game? I think for me, it might be jungle or bot lane. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, Berserker is really, really good, and he might, end up being able to do some work. So, I mean, how are you feeling about bot lane or jungle in this game?
It's funny because like there are reasons where it's like I could see an argument for us losing any of these three lanes, but also at the same time there's arguments for us to win all three lanes. I think the one I'm probably most worried about is actually the top lane, believe it or not. I know Impact has always been a rock, but is he back?
Oh,
Hello.
There we
It's
go.
me. Hi.
He's back.
I've returned.
Nice.
Oh dear Lord. Anyway, good job filibustering, guys. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
All good.
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet because I know you've been killing time, but like this, I do agree this is gonna be one of our harder matchups. Especially, I like that this plays out with the question I asked Blabber last week in the Q&A of
Blabber.
Who is not Blabber? Shit, Speaker. Because I asked who he thinks his LCS rival is, and he said Blabber, which is why I said Blabber. And so, like, really, this will be a jungle rivalry matchup, and we can really see who's the superior jungle here, because I think they have pretty equal caliber like supporting squad. I'd personally say Vigla is better than Diplex to me, and I definitely do think Winsome is better than Sven, but like Fudge is a monster and Berserker is insane. So honestly, the way it balances out, I think we're kind of uneven ground here. I am gonna give it to Fly though. I just really believe in our bot lane to outshine and then have a lot of pressure on the rest of the map. And I think Impact is one of the few junglers that can, withstand Fudge as a player. And as Arkham Avalon is saying in his chat, Cassante will be banned because Song is smart and will not let broken champs through unless we are picking them.
No, I think these are good points. So we're all calling the 2-0 for FlyQuest this weekend. Very exciting. It's gonna be a good week. It's gonna be a good season. It's gonna be a good year. I think things are looking really up for FlyQuest. And speaking of teams that are doing pretty well, it's time to move on to FlyQuest Challengers. And now it's Nox's favorite portion of the night.
The irony of saying they're doing pretty well and Cloud9 Challengers is currently...
Yeah, right now they're down 6-1 in kills and approximately 7,000 gold. to Cloud9 Challengers, but you know what? That's just details. So we're going to move back to the normal thing. And we're going to talk about FlyC for a minute here. Currently 5-1, maybe on their way to 5-2. No big deal. In week 1, because we missed them, or we missed talking about them, they 1-1 with Area of Effect. They 2-0 TSM Challengers, and then on Saturday they 2-0'd Team Liquid First. So their opponents are all bottom half of the league. Now, in one way that's kind of good because, okay, they went 5-1 against the kind of scrub lords of the league. Okay, that's good. That's what you need to do, to be top half. Fantastic. But now here they are. They're playing against Cloud9 Challengers, a team that right now is also 5-1. Cloud9 Challengers played FlyFAM, who they beat, which we'll get into in a bit, EG Challengers, and Dig Challengers. So all teams that are higher up in the standings currently after almost 2 weeks. So FlyC look good, just against lower quality opponents. Nox, talk to me about some of the trends you've been seeing with FlyQuest Challengers. Is the famed Spearex UG combo back on? Are they picking up where they left off? How are you feeling about the new bot lane? Give it all to me. I want to hear it all.
Yeah. So I think, well, actually, I'll save the best for last. Mid jungle, Spearaxe UG, looking hot as ever, killing it. Like even this game, their mid jungle duo, their one kill was like a great gank they just had, right? I've been very, very happy with how they looked. I think Philip has looked solid for the most part. Still kind of like not the best in the NACL or anything, and that's pretty much what was expected, right? Like he came to the LCS, gained some experience. I think he's looked okay because of that experience, but he's still not the best by any stretch of the imagination, I think. Ketong has been subbing in place of Winsome because Winsome has been playing on the LCS stage. I'm not going to go too into depth on him, but he has done an immaculate job of just taking Winsome's spot. He's done good. I really, really want to give a moment to focus on Masu, though. Masu has been playing the NACL on, according to Papa Smithy, 165 ping this entire time.
Insane.
And has looked absolutely cracked. This man is nuts. I don't know how he's doing the stuff that he's doing on the ping that he's on. I really, really hope that this guy can get into LA sometime soon because the moment he does, I would love to see him on the 0 ping that these guys are playing on, basically, or the 7 or 10 ping, whatever it is. I was fairly high on him coming in. I did not think he would look this good, though. I'm so impressed with how he's looked so far, and I really hope he's able to keep it up. Like even now, like he is. I mean, I'm bragging about him being 0-0-0, but with how this game's going, he's 0-0-0. Like it's actually like I'm very impressed with how he's looked so far.
Although they did just get a kill, so or not Masu, but the team. So
okay.
They're still in it.
So either way, I really want to give a lot of praise to Masu. I think he's looked fantastic, and I think whenever Winsome does come back down, this is going to be one of the deadliest bot lane duos there is in this league, and I think it'll be super scary to deal with. So yeah, I think the Fly Challengers squad, they look great. I've been super happy. I know they've only been playing bottom half teams so far, but they're good.
Yeah. No, I'm still very excited to see how they do. And look, at the end of the day, what it's all about for these teams, and I think this is even more important for FlyFAM, which we'll talk about in just a second, it's the development. It's getting these players to a level where they can step into the LCS, or they can be reliable substitutes, in case, someone was sick or, something were to go wrong. So as long as these guys keep getting better, that is what I am, concerned about. if they're going like they've got a 50% winning percentage, but they look better every game, like I'm still okay with that. That's still a win for me. Curly, any thoughts on Fly Challengers before we hit FlyFAM?
I like how well they're playing right now. And they, especially, like just reiterating, like Masu being on such a high ping and still being able to perform well.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculously impressive. Because if that's what he does on high ping, imagine what he would do at a LAN. And I really do think that this squad is only getting stronger as the season progresses.
Yeah.
I think they've got just a lot of really good potential to be probably a top 4, top 3 finish,
Yeah. Is Masu supposed to... I hadn't read this, so I might have missed it. Is he supposed to come over to the West Coast at some point, or is he going to be...
He is supposed to, because he's technically part of the Challengers team, and all Challengers teams are based in LA. So at some point, he is supposed to be on his way. I don't know the timeline on that, though.
Okay, gotcha. I'm watching a team fight between them right now. They've lost the team fight. All right, so I think
this team is good. They just lost.
This team's good, but they are.
To be fair, Cloud9 Challengers is, I think, in my opinion, the best team in the Challengers League.
Yeah,
this team is nutty.
This team is kind of cracked, actually.
I will be curious to see what happens if Cloud9 ever decides to make the swap between Diplex and Jimenez, because I think a lot of this comes off of Jimenez. They actually will probably drop quite a few ranks, I think, because like a lot of this has just been Jimenez just straight up beasting in the mid lane, and literally, I think the man is at I think it's 11 solo kills now, maybe more. It is just it's stupid nuts.
He's totally crushing. All right, excellent. All right, the final thing tonight, FlyFAM. We do have to talk about them. That sounds bad. I say that because it's been a struggle. The start of the season has been a struggle. There's no way to dance around it. They are 1-9 now. Their sole win coming against, pardon me for not remembering, against CLG Faith.
CLG Faith, yeah.
The other team that they are 1-7 right now, playing Dignitas Challengers right now. Probably, I expect, will go down 0-2 to that. So, not great. However, there has been one bright shining star for me in the games that I've watched from FlyFAM, and that is Lunacia. He looks really, really good in the top lane, and I just want to see more out of this guy. I want to see him develop, continue to improve, because so far, against a fair amount of these like challenger teams, he's actually put up some pretty impressive performances. He's had a few solo kills. He's held his own in lane. I felt like he has looked pretty good. How much have you guys been able to pull out of Lunacia or anyone else on FlyFAM that has looked particularly good to you?
No, I think for me, I completely agree. Lunacia, to my surprise, I thought honestly the biggest new upcomer would be Blaze.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Lunacia has been far and away the best performer so far for this team and has looked the best. And it's awesome to see, especially in a atmosphere or ecosystem where top laners in the West are like really, really weak. So if we can develop this guy, that's great. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, along with that though, I think Goo's probably been somewhat surprising to me too. It needs a lot of work still, but I think there's been shining moments for Goo. And it's kind of unfortunate because I was a huge fan of Blaze. You can go check the receipts before we even announced the roster. Blaze was one of my mid laners that I was like, I really want to see FlyFAM pick this guy up. I think he's very, very good. Maybe that goes to show my terrible analytics and scouting skills. I don't know. But I thought he was really, really good. And so it's kind of been unfortunate to see him struggling so much. And I know all of these guys are on higher ping, but at the end of the day, I kind of was hoping for a little more from him. And then the bot lane is also, funnily enough, kind of been the most, I don't want to say disappointing, but like lackluster, I guess. Because this was the portion of the team where it's like, you have to consider this is a provisional team. You need to pick up wins, right? Because you have to be in the top 2 of all of the other 6 provisional teams, or the other 5 provisional teams, excuse me. and that way you can avoid the relegation tournament. And frankly,
They're already
I
way
don't think they've been.
behind.
Yeah, they're way behind for one, and I haven't really seen much carry potential coming from Instinct and Sword, and
Yeah.
that kind of sucks. That this was the one part of the one pillar of this team that I was expecting to really just kind of carry their weight and do a lot of work, and I really haven't seen it. So hopefully, what ends up happening in the coming weeks is the guys kind of start to gel, maybe, because there's been individual shining moments for all of them, but they just really can't seem to come together.
Yeah. Yeah, like Cincinnati Fear is 7-3. Wildcard Gaming, I don't know how they did against Team Liquid First today.
They went 1-1.
Yeah, so they're 5-3. So FlyFam probably they have lost. FlyFam 1-9. Fly Challengers having just lost their game 1. They're already 4, 5, 6 games behind first and second place amongst the provisional teams. So they're either gonna have to go on a massive run, I think, to avoid the relegation tournament, or they're going to have to perform extra well in that relegation tournament. Because looking at some of those teams that are gonna probably be coming through in that promotion tournament, there's some decent teams in there that could pose definitely a challenge to a few of these provincial teams.
Terrifying. Maryville's a scary looking team.
Maryville looks really good.
Native looked good. Supernova looked really, really good.
Yeah.
CB Gaming surprisingly looked really, really good. There's a bunch of teams that have potential.
Yeah, it would definitely be a pretty big feels bad if FlyFam exists for like one
split and then gets relegated.
And then gets relegated. Now, of course, then they would get the opportunity, I'm sure, to do like a spring promotion of some sort. Maybe I don't know exactly how that is going to work, but you just don't want that to happen, obviously. So, gonna need to see some improvement. I was looking at some preliminary stats on Oracle's Elixir. FlyFam has the lowest early game rating in NACL Spring. Not the worst mid-late rating, but their early game rating is 18.6. So basically, they're only winning like 18%, they only have 18% chance to win at the early game. It's just not, it's not good. It's not a great place to be. If you want some positive stats, FlyQuest, main team, they have the third best, the third best early game rating and the third best mid-late rating in the LCS. So,
nice.
Some good positives there just to start things off. But NACL does continue, so some more big matchups for week 3. Fly Challengers plays twice. They play both iterations of CLG. They've got CLG Challengers and CLG Faith. And then, I was mistaken, we've got the Civil War next Monday night. Fly Challengers versus FlyFam.
Oh, no.
6 p.m. is when that is happening. FlyFam, they also will play Dignitas Challengers on Sunday. So, a lot of big games. I think after week 3, you're already starting to see it. But after week 3, I think you'll really see the separation between like the good teams, the mid teams, and the really bad teams in NACL, and we'll start to have a good understanding maybe of the different tiers. But still an exciting league, lots of really good players. There's, what's the count? You've got like 80 players in NACL that all are looking to try to get into LCS. So there's a lot of talent there. Just need the LCS to pick them up eventually. So that is all we've got, unless you guys have any final topics that you want to surprise me with. right about now. Now's your chance. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the close.
I think we should discuss Ovilee May.
Oh,
Probably
Thank
some of the
you.
biggest news of last week. Yeah. That music video, man. One of the best pieces of content I have ever seen in the last couple of years. It is so beautiful. People are like comparing it to Tenacious D.
I mean,
And
it's
I
a
think
isn't
it is.
It's a cover, right? Or it's a parody?
Is it? Is it a parody of Tenacious D?
I don't know if I think it's a
Say,
specific.
in honor of Tenacious D, it's a tribute to the greatest song in the world.
Yeah.
That is a tribute to the greatest song in the world?
No, that's a reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that one over my head.
Yeah.
Oh, what a...
Sandy's got me. Sandy's the other rockhead here.
Yeah.
I know, I get it. It took me realizing that I didn't get it to get it, and now I'm embarrassed. This is the internet. I should know these things. But yeah, it's really, really beautifully well done, and like if this is the kind of content we can expect, I'm really excited.
Yeah. No, I thought, that was absolutely hilarious. I was laughing. Great to have her on the roster. A new first, really our one content creator. Since I guess because Voyboy kind of disappeared off the scene, right? So, having a content creator under the FlyQuest banner is really good. Helps to grow the brand, obviously. So these are all good things. I have really nothing bad to say about this. I think it's a fantastic move, and we're taking what the LCS was wrong to drop off. So that's all I've got to say about that.
Next up, we'll sign Dash.
Yeah. Well, okay. One other thing I wanted to ask you guys, real quick, thoughts on kind of this revamped broadcast. Feels a lot more casual. Things feel a little bit different. Everyone's wearing chiller clothes on stream. It's not suit jackets and ties anymore. You can wear a nice sweater if you want to. So, I mean, I felt like the broadcast was really nice. I enjoyed it a lot. Maybe a little bit more than I usually would. A little bit more entertaining, more relevant to kind of the current vibe and feel of the scene. I felt like it was good. How did you guys feel about the broadcast this week?
I mean, personally, I was working during both of them, so I didn't get to actually watch anything live. So I have no input yet.
Right.
But I did like the QT kitchen bit. That was pretty fun.
That was pretty good. That was excellent. Knox, how about you?
I've actually liked it a lot. It feels far more lax, which is far more kind of easy to get into. Not straight up ESPN, which I've never minded ESPN. I mean, but then again, I guess I'm very much a traditional sports watcher, so I never minded having something else likened to it, right?
Yeah.
I will say, like, small critiques. I still do want analyst segments, and there are analyst segments, but I feel like they've been very lackluster.
Yeah.
Compared to what they have been in the past. Like, they don't need to be like every single game to the level of what they were.
Right.
But I don't know. They weren't really hitting the mark for me this week. So maybe hopefully going into week 2, maybe the analyst segments are a little bit better. And then last but not least, you got rid of Dash, but you still have Jat hosting the freaking analyst zone.
Right.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like,
make up your mind.
So, I mean, that feels kind of bad for me. Like, not that, like, Jat or anyone else is, like, a bad host, quote-unquote, but, like, you got rid of them because it's like you don't need the host role anymore, and then you still have someone hosting the LCS. Like,
yeah.
Like, hello? But those are, like, pretty much my only two critiques.
Right. No, I think that's fair. Yeah, it was a little confusing. I felt like Dash was definitely missed. So, is what it is. And you know what also is what it is? The fact that the show is coming to a close. So thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Flight Check. Quick shout out for our one sub of the evening to I'm Scary Terry, who resubbed for 2 months. Thank you, Terry. Loyal friend of the show, longtime FlyQuest fan, and great to have had you along with us for a little bit tonight. LCS is back. Week 2 is in just 3 days, which is wild to think about. 6 p.m. ET versus Golden Guardians on Thursday. 7 p.m. ET versus Cloud9 on Friday. So, Be sure to follow us on Twitter for all of our reactions and thoughts to the games. You can catch the show at FlightCheck Crew, myself at SantosDB, Nox at NoxWar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_WQ_. Make sure to hop into the FlightCheck Discord as well, where all kinds of esports discussion and otherwise takes place. And if you missed any part of this episode, the VOD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning, and I'll be editing the Spotify right after this. So if you're watching or listening to those and would like to catch the show live, we broadcast the episode on Twitch, usually every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. All right, did you guys know Daylight Savings Time is coming up? Or the end of it
is it really?
Is it really?
In like March. Like, we're only a month and change away, you know? It's feels good. I won't have to, go to work in the dark and come out in the dark. That'll be really nice. So
it's the little things.
Yeah, it's the little things. All right, Curly, give me some final notes, some shout outs, plugs. What do you got going on? Tell the good people what is happening in your life.
I mean, honestly, first biggest shout out is to LCS for having their photos just like publicly available on Flickr as opposed to like behind a paywall. It's really nice for community because then we can just like, all get a hold of them. Because like I said earlier, I downloaded literally all of them just in case we need them for content purposes.
Right.
But then another shout out just to the team for going 2-0 because now I am the proud father of my own little prince.
There you are.
And
wow.
If I get if they keep up the 2-0 weeks, I get at least 8 more of these.
Yes.
So they're not always going to be trees, but the first one, this is a money tree, is what it's called. It's a little bonsai money tree. And
nice.
So
love it.
For us to bring good fortune to the home, and so I hope that good fortune spreads to FlyQuest.
Perfect. That looks great. That's a beautiful little tree. Nox, how about you? Shoutouts, plugs. I know pick'ems have started. Folks, keep doing your pick'ems in FlyQuest Discord. How about anything else that you got going on?
Really quick, as always.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot forget this.
Gotta
remember this. And then, as a Texan, you guys are Northerners, right? So can you maybe explain this to me? I'm not sure what this is exactly. Can you see, do you know what this is? I don't know what this is.
That's
what is this?
Snow. Snow?
Yes. In our culture, we have this regular thing called snow. And
so actually
snow?
Snow.
Am I saying that right?
Snow. No, not Sinnoh. That is a region in a game. Snow. But actually, Nox, you are actually very well equipped for this as a big fan of the North American Challengers League, because a good thing to address snow with is salt.
Yes.
So you are perfectly equipped to be able to walk around.
Use your NACL to get rid of the salt, get rid of the snow on your sidewalk. There you go.
I will use this NACL, this salt, to be able to walk around in this salt.
Indeed.
I got it.
Perfect. Excellent.
Just get Pukar from NAMN. It'll be fun.
All right, for me, my shout out, it's going to Impact. This man beats Dignitas and then gets up on stage with Prince and interprets for Prince. And then my other shout out goes to Prince for his English. This man already crushing it. Learning hard, coming in, kicking butt, taking names, and already doing an interview where getting asked the question in Korean, sure, but responding in English and very competently. I thought it was great to see. Great teammate synergy right there, and a couple good chuckles. Go watch that interview. It was really, really fantastic. All right.
Dude, I love the Travis Gafford, the quiz one where he's like, "Oh, it's me."
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'll have to go watch it.
It's beautiful. Yeah,
that's good. You know what we should do? You know how we did a LEC pop quiz? We should do one of the surprise tests and see if we can guess.
Us?
Yeah. That'd be fun.
I guessed all of them.
All right, we'll have to find one that none of us have watched, and that comes out real soon, and we'll have to do
just
it.
the next one. Yeah. Just
All right, we'll do the next one. All right, next time, probably. So, I don't know about. In 2 weeks from now, we will do a surprise test live on air, guaranteed. Hold me to it. All right, we will be back maybe next week. It's a little bit TBD to discuss how LCS is going on, further NACL stuff. I don't know if there's anything Smash related coming up. I think there was one tournament that somebody registered for. I need to triple.
Yeah, there's something coming up. I don't remember who it was or where it's at, but there is something.
There is something. So we'll be tweeting about that for sure. So all I will say for now is please stay safe out there. Don't forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.